It seems simple enough to do a number of votes and then to agree on how much each of the persons involved should chip in for the public good. Unfortunately, it's not that simple for the following three reasons: crowding out, measuring cost and particularly the benefits of public goods, and measuring preferences of voters for public goods. Let's start with crowding out. What is the trouble? Now, what may happen is that even when there is some private provision of the public good, and then the government steps in and makes sure that the public good is not provided at a level of Q. For example, here in case of road maintenance, LISA provides Q, and then the government tops it up to Q star. However, in some cases, there's going to be crowding out, and that basically means that if the government provides A more of the public goods, then LISA may actually cut back by the same amount. So the end result is that there's no change in the level of provision of the public good. And that holds when we really have a one-to-one crowding out of private initiative as a result of public provision. And we'll be playing around with that in Wednesday's exercises. A concrete example here, there's a picture of the coffee corner in the Koopmans building where we are located as an economics department, and then the public good involved here is keeping things clean and putting in effort to keep the kitchen clean has a private cost, but a public benefit. Now, say that the secretaries step in and they say, well, it's just a mess. Those economists turn this coffee corner into such a mess. Let's do some more cleaning. The level of cleanliness is too low. It's not a complete mess, but it's too low. So they're like, well, let's top up so that we get to this optimal level of cleaning. The trouble is that we are watching the secretaries doing this, and then that may mean that we are like, well, if they clean it up for us anyway, why go through the effort? Why would I, clean the dishes and if there's coffee stuff all over the place, the secretaries are going to be around tomorrow anyway. So that's a concrete example of crowding out of public provision. Together with a colleague from Erasmus University, we actually looked at crowding out in the context of garbage disposal. The idea is that you put your garbage bag actually in one of those shared underground containers that has an opening above the ground. You open the lid, you throw your bag in, and that's it. The trouble is, well, what often happens is that people throw all kinds of stuff there at the container location. If there's other stuff already, then why go through the effort of putting your bag in there properly? So the idea then was at City Hall that we have to keep this clean, because if we keep it clean, people will also keep it clean. Clean keeps clean. That's sort of the idea. But that supposes that there is crowding in, actually. So if the government steps in and makes things clean, then people are likely to follow, to do the same thing. But we were not so sure, because it may also be that citizens learn that the government will clean up after them, so that they will do less. So that's even it is even going to be a greater mess. So the government has to do more and more. In many cities, this is Rotterdam actually, there are armies of cleaners going through those neighborhoods every single day. Now, just like with kids, if you clean up after your kids every day, they learn that it will happen for them. So we did a field experiment actually in which we drastically reduced the frequency of cleaning to see what happened. And overall on the net, we saw that indeed that if there is less cleaning, then citizens are even more likely to dump their stuff, their garbage around the container rather than to actually put their garbage bag nicely in the container and to call up the municipality for pickup of larger items. They're not supposed to be there, right? This is not some sort of collection point for all kinds of discarded appliances that you may have. But we did see also, and that's what it says here, some evidence that some people start to clean up after themselves when public cleaning services are diminished, and that holds for those large items that people want to dispose of, like television sets and furniture and wardrobes and what have you, mattresses. And maybe because there is, it's clearer that it's yours. A garbage bag is uniform. It's anonymous. It's just a black bag. Nobody knows whose garbage bag this is. But if you put your couch outside, it's more likely that people know it's yours. And if they are looking at your couch for like a week, they're not gonna like it, right? So that may actually explain why we do see crowding out in the case of those items. Yeah. There's some more research on crowding out, because one of the ideas, and that often people say that in Europe we have such an extensive safety net, that there's so much social security that as a result we see less private initiative aimed at helping out people. So private charity for helping out the poor, so to say. And there's some historical evidence based on a paper here published in the Economic Journal saying that actually there may not be crowding out, but there may be crowding in. So at some point, when this whole trend towards government policies for the poor started, then what they actually observed is that public initiative will follow by private initiative. So that's not crowding out, but crowding in. The poor laws. All right, so that's the first challenge. That there may be crowding out of private initiative in response to public provision. The second challenge is to measure the benefits, particularly of public goods, because to be able to decide how much of the public good we need to also agree on how much is this worth. This missile system, what value should I attach to this missile system? How important is it? And that is challenging. Now in the Netherlands it's election time again, and there's many issues at stake, and political parties differ in their positions, but it's often very difficult as an individual citizen to find out what stands to take. How important are certain public goods? What's the value, more concrete, what's the value of cleaning the hallway? We all share a hallway to get to the coffee corner, to get to the printer and all that, but how important is it, and how much cleaning should we really need? Or what's the value of improving a highway? Then, you'll have to compute how much is it worth, that there's less traffic delays and fewer accidents. So those are severe challenges if you want to come to an agreement how much of the public good you need. And this is something we'll get back to in the last week of the course, week 12, on cost-benefit analysis. And then finally, we talked about preferences before in the median voter theorem, but the trouble is that it's very difficult to elicit the true preferences of people, because you would probably think, why not simply ask them, so how much do you value this public good? But Look, if you say that you are writing an essay between the three of you, how much do you value putting in effort for that essay, which is a cost to you, and which is a benefit also to you, but also to the two other members? Then if you say that you greatly value a high grade for the essay, well, that's sort of a signal like, well, I'm going to put in a lot of effort. So the others may actually think, well, this is the perfect opportunity to free write, right? So in practice, there's difficulties related to measuring the true preferences that people have. All right, so what did we learn this week? The following, that public goods are non-excludable and non-rival in consumption. It's another source of market failure because of this free riding behavior that may result. But there may be some private provision after all if the marginal benefits are higher than the marginal costs at a quantity greater than zero, or in the case of social coercion, probably altruism, and finally image concerns. Government may step in and force people to chip in for a certain public good, but then that has its own challenges, primarily because of crowding out of private provision.